Oba Femi just destroyed Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns got in CM Punk's head. Randy Orton is out of control again. AEW tag teams are fighting for legacy, and TNA might have a problem. Let's talk about it on this episode of the Crimson Mass Show. One thing that I did not expect when I watched Raw last week was for Oba Femi to absolutely decimate Brock Lesnar. I didn't expect it. Now, I have to admit, I do have some concerns about an Oba Femi Brock Lesnar WrestleMania match because this is when to go home, baby. Like, if Oba Femi fights Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and comes out on the losing end, it's gonna kind of be hard to then flip everything around and just say, okay, he's the ruler, he's dominant. So I really do hope that they have everything planned for Oba Femi to go over Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar losing does nothing to his legacy. Nothing. Brock Lesnar has nothing to lose, and Oba Femi has everything to gain, but Oba Femi also has everything to lose. So I hope they make the right choice here and put over Oba and Brock. But that was a amazing legacy defining moment on Monday Night Raw. Oba Femi slamming Brock Lesnar through the mat, putting his foot on his chest, and pointing up at the WrestleMania sign. The foot on the chest thing, I heard that was an audible by Brock. So if Brock did tell Oba to do that, kudos to him. A lot of people don't give Brock the respect he deserves for his in-ring psychology and understanding what makes a moment bigger. So you got to give Brock Lesnar credit for that. Okay, I don't want to be ultra critical here. I don't want to be ultra critical here, but I do have to ask something. Out of everything that could have been said between Roman Reigns and CM Punk, the thing that gets under CM Punk's skin is that Roman called him old. I don't know. And I heard this and I heard that. Like I said, these dirt sheets, you never know what's the truth and what's a lie. But I heard something along the lines of like, oh, Roman didn't want to talk bad about CM Punk's dog Larry, which is very respectable. But if the punchline to the feud going towards CM Punk is you're old after a week where CM Punk had said that he's going to bury Roman Reigns next to his father, that was a miss for me, man. That was a miss. And I liked everything in that segment leading up to that moment where Roman called Punk old and Punk punched Roman. And then Roman's like, yeah, I'm in his head. I'm in his head. I can't sit here and honestly say that I understand that, but it happened. I do think there's a lot of more juice for the squeeze in this feud, but that moment, him calling him old and CM Punk acting like it's the biggest deal in the world, that came off as kind of silly to me. So I mean, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think Punk getting called old and then having that reaction, it kind of made him look extremely thin skinned. So that's just where I was with it, y'all. Randy Orton was back up to his shit again this past week on SmackDown. He came to the ring and he gave some sort of explanation for why he attacked Cody. And I kind of figured that he was going to go the route of, hey, you told me that I could be my old self. You told me that you wanted the Viper. You told me that I can listen to the voices. And guess what? I listened to the voices. I beat you bloody. So, I mean, you can't kind of blame Cody for that, but at the same time, no, dog, that ain't gonna fly because even if, even if we wanted to say, okay, Randy, you're right, Cody gave you permission and you went ahead and did it. Even if that's the case, the fact that you spent the rest of the night and you were just hyper focused on Matt Cardona, calling him a nerd, calling him a loser, etc., calling him all these things, punched him in the face, then you get consoled by Jelly Roll. And let me tell you one thing right now. if WWE don't start pressing the brakes a little bit on this Jelly Roll thing. You know what? Jelly Roll being there at first, I was like, okay, that's cool. Jelly Roll, you know, who doesn't like Jelly Roll? But now they putting a little bit too much jelly on the roll. Okay, we don't need multiple segments of Jelly Roll. Just to let you know, we don't need multiple segments of it. We get it. He put in the work to lose the weight. He put in the work to learn wrestling, to show respect to everybody backstage. We get it. But to have Jelly Roll a constant theme throughout the show for multiple weeks, that's too much, dog. That's just too much. But anyway, we had Jelly Roll being the one man on SmackDown on planet Earth at that particular moment that can get oh nah Randy Orton to calm down. So it seemed. Then Randy Orton was on the phone with somebody telling him he's gonna fix it. I don't know who he's talking to. I have no clue. Maybe he's talking to his wife. I don't know. But either way it go, all those things led up to Randy leading Matt Cardona to the ring. Now, Matt Cardona has a history of being dumb, gullible, and naive. He has a history. Remember John Cena, Eve Torres, Mendez, whichever. I don't know which. I can't remember. I think it's Eve Torres. Eve Torres, playing Zack Ryder, looking like a fucking fool, looking like an idiot. Him getting his ass kicked by Kane every week. I remember all of that. I remember all of that. So why Matt Cardona came to the ring, got his hug from Randy Orton, and still stood there, and it took a second handshake. He lingered around too long, man. The first voice is like, all right, Randy, man, go ahead, apologize. This, that, and the third. Randy apologized, and then for some reason, Matt Cardona just stood there and just went for like, I don't know, to accept a second apology. And all that did was got him kicked in his nuts, got his ass beat, got his arm snapped. So, I mean, I don't know. From the viewer at home, I was like, why is he still there? Like Randy, like you only got a small segment of time where you can get the hell away from Randy Orton before the other voice comes in and says, kick his ass, put his head off. But I guess Matt Cardona did not get the memo. If you guys are still here, thank you so much. If this is your first time to the channel, please subscribe. Please like the video. Please hit the hype button. Do all those things to help us out with the algorithm. We would greatly appreciate it. And once again, thank you so much. Now back to the show. Okay, right off the rip, I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance if I call these guys Edge and Christian, because it's just, look, I'm just used to it by now, y'all. I'm just used to it. But we had a very interesting segment on AEW Dynamite. We had a very interesting segment where it featured Cope and Cage, the Young Bucks, and FTR. Now, the reason I think it's interesting, okay, first and foremost, and I was talking to somebody else about this, it's kind of fucked up that they kind of just taking the Young Bucks, putting them aside, and then, just dropping Cope and Cage right in there. That's the stuff people question. That's the stuff people question, but I'm not going to question it. What I am going to talk about, though, is the opportunity here. The opportunity to recreate something really cool. Now, I don't know if Cope and Cage will be interested in this. They should be. Why don't we have a TLC match between Cope and Cage, the Young Bucks, and FTR? Let's have something where maybe at Dynasty, the Young Bucks interfere and cost Cope and Cage the tag team titles by accident. That'll set up down the road that TLC match. I think that will be pretty dope, and I would like to see it. And it'll be cool to see Cope and Cage in one more of those matches before they go ahead and retire. And it'll also be something that they could kind of like tag as, who's the best team of this generation or something of that nature. So I think that's something really cool that they could do. And I think they should absolutely go for it. I think it would be a great match. Even though really, I feel like that will benefit the Young Bucks because them in a TLC match, I mean, Who wouldn't want to see that after all this time? But Cope and Cage, they're a little longer in the tooth. FTR, they're a little ground based technical. So it'll be an interesting match because the contrast of styles between the Dudleys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian. I mean, Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, they kind of had overlap in their styles, but the Dudley Boys were a completely different thing. So it'll be interesting to see what this iteration of it will be. And I hope that's the plan for them to go forward and do some type of TLC match somewhere in the near future. Now, I know Swerve did not sit in the middle of that ring after he then beat up one of the GOATs, beat Brody King, and then Go had to save him. Go had to save Brody King. Now he's sitting in the ring. Now he want Kenny EVP status. You know what? You want it? Kenny give it to him. Now I know the last time I said that Swerve want the cleaner, he gonna get the cleaner. Last time I said that Kenny got his ass cleaned up. So I'm not gonna just assume that that's gonna happen this time, but ain't no way. Like, what would Swerve do as the EVP? I imagine. Matter of fact, man, let me just take that shit back. They don't need to do no more storylines that involve EVP being on the line, people being stripped of EVP. In fact, why don't we just not even mention the fact that anybody is an EVP? Just throw it out. Stop having it even be a thing on TV. Just let it go. Like, I don't even think that they needed this stipulation in order for this feud to be hot. The feud is already hot. There's already purpose behind it. Swerve beat the shit out of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega won his get back. That's all they need to it. So we don't need EVP being online because then if Swerve wins, then we're gonna have a whole nother thing like it was with the Young Bucks where they were flexing their muscle as EVPs. I don't want Swerve to be in that position. I don't want to do that. So I think it's a horrible idea to even have this be a thing. Sometimes AEW has the bad habit of just putting stipulations on things. Everything doesn't need a fucking stipulation. He beat up Kenny. Kenny wants revenge. Simple as that. Kenny now should challenge Swerve for the title of most dangerous man in AEW. That's exactly what should happen. There is no need for EVP status or anything like that to be brought into this. Will Ospreay is back. He made short work, kind of short work, or whatever that dude name is, beat him up. And the first thing he did is he said, Jon Moxley, I want you. You broke my neck. I didn't need a weapon. I could break your fucking neck with my bare hands. And then, Jon Moxley being Jon Moxley, he's not going to take that shit laying down. He came out there and him and Will Ospreay went at it. Here's my issue. And I always have an issue, right? Here's my issue. I don't understand. I don't understand what Jon Moxley is at this point. Okay, he's an anti-hero. That's the easy way to go with it. But is he an anti-hero leaning face or is he an anti-hero leaning heel? Which one is it? Which one is it? One minute he's preaching the virtues of AEW. The next minute he's letting Pac brutalize Will Ospreay when it's supposed to be a one-on-one fade. I don't get it. I don't get the point of Pac needing to interject himself into the situation where this is clearly Will Ospreay wanting to get revenge on Jon Moxley. Then it makes Jon look weak because he was about to be put in a position to get his neck broken, and then you have to have Pac come save you. I didn't like that. This is supposed to be a one-on-one fade. You don't need Pac. You don't need Garcia. You don't need Castagnoli. You don't need Shafir. You don't need none of those people. You don't need none of the Death Riders. It's just a one-on-one thing. Jon Moxley needs to come out next week, man up, say, hey, this is one-on-one. I don't need y'all help. I take care of Will Ospreay myself. And then if he get his neck broken or, kayfabe get his neck broken, then so be it. But that shit makes Jon look weak. You don't need nobody to fight for you, Jon. He don't need it. He needs to just go out there, handle business, take it like a man. You hurt Will Ospreay, And so now you're gonna have to deal with Will Ospreay by your damn self. We don't need to do the thing where Will Ospreay has to go through each and every Death Rider one by one. The shit has been done to death. The horse has been beaten and sent to the glue factory. We don't need to see it no more. Just catch your fade one on one and leave it at that. Let me preface what I'm about to say with this is definitely not a hey, let's shit on TNA moment. This is not that. This is not that at all. But, and this is just my perspective. And I want to point out that I understand that different wrestling fans have different expectations. We all have different things we like. I like storylines. I like storylines with a lot of shit on the line. It could be championships, it could be titles, or something deep rooted and personal, like Steve Macklin and Santana. Like that's a deep rooted personal feud. That's the type of stuff I like. But here are a couple things that's my issue so far with TNA Impact since they've been on AMC. Maybe before, but I'm going by since I've been watching TNA. What I noticed is that the number one thing, and I've said it before, TNA lacks serious star power. They have characters that are a little too far on the comedic side. They have talents that are for the most part relatively unknown. They have veterans that are known, but again, they're veterans. Some guys like Eric Young, Kazarian, super veterans. And then and then you have a couple guys. Then you have some guys that they should truly be building the company around. Guys like Leon Slater. Now, what they don't need to be doing is letting the guys that are super talented, young, who they should be building the company around, go to WWE when their contract expires. I understand that it's their dream, but they have to start bringing something to the table where these guys would prefer to stay in TNA versus going to WWE. That's my number one issue with TNA. Here's my second issue: the balance between comedic and filler things going on and a balance between serious things that you could really get invested in going on is like 70-30. And that's not good. Because if you're going to do that, what you want your 70% to be things focused around, I want this championship. I hate this guy. Things like that, drama, fuse with drama. And the 30% can be about comedy, filler stories, things like that. Right now, it's completely flipped. On one hand, you got Santana and Steve Macklin. You got the thing going on with Moose in the system. Okay, those things go over there. But then on the other hand, you got ODB, the Elegance brand. You got the thing going on with them trying to bring the bunny back to life. And then you just got a bunch of other stuff that's just like, I don't want to call it irrelevant because that's not right, but you got a bunch of other stuff going on that kind of just, it's just filler. Filler and comedy, 70%, serious championship oriented feuds, 30%. They got to bring it closer to 50-50 or even 60-40 something, but not 30-70. That's just too much. That's too much. It makes TNA harder to watch on a week to week basis. There's just not enough going on. And the stuff that's going on doesn't matter. Like, and that's true. And I'm not seeing enough of guys like Leon Slater. He's not involved in anything that's of note, to be honest. He's not involved in anything that's of note. I do think TNA has a lot of potential. I do think that they are truly a legitimate third brand. They should be bigger than NXT. Let's keep it real. They should be bigger than NXT. They should be doing more than NXT. So the fact that there's weeks where NXT beats TNA, that shouldn't be a thing. They should be by far and away. And I understand that NXT is a WWE brand, but in the case of this discussion, I'm treating it like another brand on its own. TNA should be firmly set in the third most important brand in America after AEW. It shouldn't be NXT after AEW, then TNA at the bottom. TNA is supposed to represent the big leagues or one of the big leagues. Even if it's a smaller league, it's supposed to be one of those. NXT is developmental. So I think over time, TNA will improve. TNA will clean some of these things up. But right now, I'm just calling how I see it. I'm just calling it how I see it. All right, guys, that's it. WWE has built a new monster. AEW is having a power struggle, and TNA is trying to find its balance. But that's what we have. This is the Crimson Mass Show. I'm MFGDs, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie. I got this you can't buy. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie.
I'm so tired. What am I gonna do?
Quick shout out to our sponsor, W Energy. If you need focus without the sugar crash, this is that clean energy option. No jitters, no weird aftertaste. I use it when I'm ending or recording late. If you want to try it, use my code MFGDs. That's MFGDEEZ at the checkout. Appreciate W for supporting the show. Now let's get back to this wrestling content.